One Punch Man Season 3 Episode 6 might actually be the moment everything falls apart. And I don't mean in a dramatic, plot-driven way. I mean in the, oh no, this season is actually cooked kind of way. Because yes, sure, Episode 6 is a dialogue-heavy, conversation-driven episode. But honestly, that's not even the real problem here. The real problem is that the production is just bad, like undeniably bad. Everything about this episode screams that Season 3 from this point onward is not going to be good. And that's where the downward spiral begins. Because Episode 6 didn't even stand a chance before it premiered. The hate started early. People were doom posting days in advance. Fans were calling the season cooked before it even aired. And then the numbers came in. Episode 6 somehow debuted with a 4.0 out of 10 on IMDb, which honestly already felt extremely generous for what we ended up getting, but the fandom wasn't done. Eventually the episode ended on a 4.1 out of 10 on IMDb, meaning not a single episode in all of Season 3 has managed to break a 6 out of 10, not one, and that is brutal, especially when you compare this mess to My Hero Academia. Last week's episode of My Hero Academia, people hated the music edits, they dragged the flashbacks. They even complained the fight scenes were disappointing compared to the Bakugo episodes. Fans said Studio Bones failed Deku, which is hilarious when you compare that to what One Punch Man fans are dealing with. But here's the difference. Even with all that backlash, My Hero Academia's episode still landed a 9.3 out of 10. And every single episode of Season 8 sits above a 9.0 because the season is actually phenomenal. Meanwhile, One Punch Man Season 3 is in free fall. And it got worse when people saw Episode 6 was being outsourced to China. Fans exploded. People were furious before the episode even aired. They took one look at the staff list and immediately declared the production dead on arrival. And honestly, after watching Episode 6, it's hard to tell them they were wrong. Because everything after this point, it only gets worse. Remember how during the very first episodes, we were all coping about the art, pretending things were fine, acting like the visuals were just some crazy thing because we were desperate for hope? Yeah, that's over. Because from now on, especially in this episode, it becomes obvious that something is seriously wrong. The art isn't just inconsistent anymore. It's like, what are we even doing at this point? This is not even a proper adaptation for any anime, let alone One Punch Man. Sure, there were a few actual movements, like Darkshine moving his arm and Pig God eating food. Good for them, right? But even with the weird pacing, none of that pissed me off as much as the filter, the cursed filter they slapped on everything. Every time something slightly important happens, boom, filter. Doesn't matter what's going on, a filter appears. At some point, I literally started counting. I stopped at about 20 because it was driving me insane. 20 times they use a completely unnecessary filter. 20. And at this point, it's already bad without even counting the censorship. Zombie Man not smoking, a million variations of still images. They actually got creative with the stills, like that one scene where characters are talking, we're just staring at a building, just a building. And trust me, it gets worse, way worse. The art downgrade in this episode is crazy. So many characters look totally off-modeled, especially Genos' new form, and the way they drew him, absolutely diabolical. This is supposed to be the best designed Genos form so far, and somehow the anime made him look buff. Actually no, calling him buff is generous, he looks kinda fat. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. Daedric form Genos, which is one of the best designs in the entire manga, and they butchered him. There isn't a single scene where he actually looks good. And remember how people used to complain about Season 2 for that weird metallic textures on G4 and Genos? At least Season 2 got the forms right. This isn't Genos, I'm sorry. This is not Daedric form Genos. This is something else entirely. And if you think it can't get any worse, just wait. When King arrives at the Hero Association headquarters, right before entering the room, they did animate him in a way that looks sort of similar to the pre-animated trailer. Cool little moment. But then the staff revealed that King was fighting monsters all night, and the heroes are supposed to be shocked. And the anime gives them these expressionless, dead, lifeless faces. Then they slap that same ugly filter on top of it. And then they add that weird sliding transition from left to right. It's just embarrassing. It really shows how bad the production is. Ironically, the CGI helicopter was kind of nice. 2 seconds of effort, congratulations. They also updated Fubuki's design. No cutouts, no peels, nice. But honestly, why even bother? We probably won't even see Fubuki again at all this season. She's supposed to appear again at the very start of season 4, if season 4 even happens. And technically this new outfit should have showed up from episode 1, since her first dress was destroyed by Do-S in season 2, but whatever. Not a huge deal compared to everything else. Now here's where the frustration hits a peak. Let's talk about the S-class hero's walk. In the manga, this scene is iconic, complete hype, one of the most badass panels in the entire series. In the anime, it's just sad. Every character looks weird, no aura, no energy. Tatsumaki's hair is supposed to float backwards. Here it doesn't. Zombie Man is supposed to be smoking, wearing his dark jeans. Nope. And somehow they even forgot to include the ninja hero Shadow Ring. She is just removed for some reason. This scene is supposed to be hype. It's supposed to hit, and it doesn't even breathe at all. And the worst part, it's a still image, meaning the problem isn't just the animation, it's the production choices. The opening version of the scene looks better than the actual episode, and sadly, that's becoming a pattern. If a scene appears in the opening, it'll always look better than its version in the episode. And now we get to the part that might affect future episodes. In the episode 6 post-credit scene, they removed something huge. That monster controlling a bunch of trains in the sky, the ones filled with monsters heading into the battle. They deleted it because they simply can't animate it. That's the only logical reason. Other interactions and dialogues are also missing. Maybe they'll cram them into episode 7. Who knows anymore. Evil Eye's introduction wasn't awful, but it definitely needed more work. And here's where the pacing gets unpredictable again. Quick spoiler warning, skip ahead if you don't want predictions. Episode 7 will likely adapt the rest of chapter 94, one of the longest chapters, and maybe a few pages from chapter 95. Chapter 94 is packed with multiple heroes and multiple fights, which means they will probably remove a lot of interactions. And if they don't remove anything, episode 7 will end with Guro calling out the monster executives. And if they do cut stuff, which is very likely, the episode will probably end with Flash meeting Galewind and Hellfire Flame. My last prediction came true, but honestly, it's impossible to understand the season's pacing. Now here's where the emotional hit lands. At this point it's obvious, season 3 is cooked, especially after the producers openly told people to pay attention to episode 5 and episode 9, basically admitting that the Karu vs Orochi episode is the best season 3 will ever look. So now fans are demanding a remake, and honestly, can you blame them? Fake news about Mappa picking up One Punch Man got almost 5 million views because that's how desperate people are. Fans are even creating their own animations of previous and future fights because they're that upset. And it's sad we've reached this point. One Punch Man deserves so much better. So was episode 6 even good? Absolutely not. It's a bad episode and honestly pretty disappointing. And this is the pattern from now on. This is the baseline. This is what we're getting. Maybe slightly better, but not by much. The only hope left is that the last episode of season 3 is good. But based on the producer's statements, I'm not even confident in that. If you're an anime only fan, please pick up the manga. It's just better in every single way. One look at Genos' design should be enough to convince you. Better pacing, better storytelling, better art, like out of this world phenomenal art. If you enjoy the anime, that's fine, keep watching. But the manga is where the real One Punch Man lives. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss any of my latest videos. Let me know your thoughts about the season so far in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.